The panel that we have for you to debate the kind of investments happening in IT infrastructure today and the kind that you may need, to really build a truly digital enterprise. Are those investments really happening? What kind of innovation are we going to see as far as that is concerned? I would like to invite Vikas Prabhu, the CIO of SR Energy and Oil. Vishwanath Ghosh, Corporate CIO of Mahindra & Mahindra. Vinay Khargankar, GM and Head Corporate IT L&T, and Anuj Gupta, CEO Hitachi Systems Microclinic. Okay, this is an interesting seating because we have the person supplying the technology on one end and the people buying it on one end. Maybe it's a signal.
That's why we made to sit this side.
Maybe
it's the great divide.
Yeah.
We can change. Yeah, I guess.
No, maybe it's my job to diffuse the tension, between the client and the person. But again, I want to kick it off with Sumit, to ensure that we have a very active session despite having an elaborate lunch menu outside. We just want to get some opinions from you in, just one or two words. What does the idea of IT infra mean? For me, it might just mean data center or server or, something boring like that. But I'm sure it's changing. So please tell us what IT infra means for you in one or two words.
So
we'd love to have a lot of opinions.
Chandra has just worded it sweetly. What she actually means is she's just asked me to come and check how many of you guys are awake, all right? So that's just the flowery way of saying it. So I'll come back again to the audience. Please, if anybody would like to volunteer and tell me what IT infra means to them. We'll take audience questions later. Yes, sir. Sir, the mic is coming to you. If you could stand up and let us know what IT infrastructure means for you.
The IT infrastructure means laying the foundation and platform for digital initiatives to run.
Okay.
Other than the foundation and platform,
okay,
which is your IT infrastructure, digital is nothing.
Okay. All right. Someone here this side? Anybody? Can I get? What would that encompass? So IT infrastructure, setting the foundation, very true. But what does that mean? More computers, more laptops, more smartphones? Sir, would you take a guess?
I'm very layman in that, but I sense it like, it's a grandchild getting up at 21, getting into the business, sitting with his grandfather, and he doesn't have any tension. So similar way, IT infrastructure should provide that kind of a system where the person can do anything, whatever he wants to do, as long as he is in a legal frame.
Wow.
Very nice. Deep.
That's a very nice way of putting it.
Someone here, sir? You? All right. Let's go back to you with that, Chandra. So we've got some information, but I'm sure you have some very interesting questions for the panel that will shed more light on that. Over to you.
Right. Thank you so much for that. So, you heard their concept of IT infra. But tell us what it's come to mean for you. And it's very interesting because, the first half was dominated by banking and finance, and rightly so, because they've really led the way when it comes to technology adoption. We're seeing the industries getting disrupted. But, we would love to know what's happening with construction, manufacturing, oil and gas, all the heavy machinery. What role IT infra is playing there? So if we can start with you, Mr. Ghosh, at M&M. But not just Tech Mahindra, the other parts as well.
I will stick to rather outside Tech Mahindra, which will be probably of more interest. See, you mentioned data center. Data center is actually a very drab place. If you enter, you will not like it. It is cold. There are no people inside. You will see cable and noise constantly. It will actually, after some time, it is irritating. But that is the heart of the delivery of the application. So, gentlemen expressed about digital, right? What we see as a consumer, what we see is the application of the interface, or what we work. But to deliver it, there is a huge amount of infrastructure that gets into. So, look at servers, storage, network, data center. And everything together is actually able to deliver that. No matter what application or, whether it is bank or financial institution or manufacturing, that is what is delivering. So that kind of remains in the back end, but extremely important. And if it doesn't work, the application will not get delivered. So the businesses, what we try to achieve through those applications, we'll just not be able to achieve. The screen will just go blank.
Right, right. And are you seeing broader usage? I mean, M&M, now we are seeing self-driving cars happening in the US. You had a tie-up with Ola yesterday. So again, is it, coming into the other aspects of M&M as well, not just say financial services or tech M, but, broad-based use of IT infra?
Yeah, so almost every businesses cannot live without IT today, right? So let me give an example. If you look at a manufacturing plant, and we have a huge base in manufacturing, look at automotive or tractor or heavy equipment that we do. Now, automotive plant, if the IT is not working, will not be able to invoice a single vehicle. Looking at the number of variants that we have, looking at the pricing structure that has to be done and different tax structure that has to be, it is now impossible to do a manual calculation and invoice a vehicle. We'll not be able to receive any material because we do not know whether we have ordered it or not, because everything is in the system.
Right.
We'll manufacture, we'll have to take the quality tracking, parts tracking. So it absolutely comes at a standstill if IT is not working.
Right.
And when I'm saying IT is not working, it is not just the application, but the whole infrastructure that I referred to.
Right.
And if you look at, just to add, we already have a couple of interesting areas. For example, we have some construction equipment. It's a small business, not very large, but that's started about 5 years back, and that probably, to my mind, in India, first connected vehicle.
Right.
That brings in all the information of the vehicle, what is the fuel level, whether it is working or not, how many hours it has worked. That all comes to the server, and the owner of the vehicle actually can interface and gets alerts from there.
Okay. Right. Mr. Prabhu, oil and gas and utilities, are you seeing IT infra changing things for you despite, oil prices crashing there?
So, if you ask me, for us, IT infrastructure, basically my manager or the MD always says that you guys are business enablers and not the support function. So he calls us more of business enablers and not the support function. From an infrastructure point of view, the infrastructure is evolving. There is cloud, there is everything as a service that is coming in. From our business point of view, there is a huge amount of business growth that is we are expanding in retail. So we have our petrol stations being set up almost 2 to 3 every day. You don't see them in Mumbai, but outside Mumbai there are many which are coming up. So for us, a 24/7 availability is very important. Now, when you look at infrastructure, typically you have or information security on infrastructure. Typically, you have confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Right.
In case of oil and gas, it actually gets reversed. It is availability first because our refinery has to run 24/7. Then you have the integrity because every data or whatever instructions go in refinery have to be accurate. And the last one is the confidentiality part. So for us, availability, and in case of infrastructure, the availability becomes utmost important, and that is how we look at infrastructure for SRO.
Right. We'd love to hear the L&T perspective. These days everybody is scared that robots are going to overtake their jobs because, that's the pace of development that's happening. Do you foresee a future where perhaps we'll have robots doing all the heavy lifting and, building the metros for us?
L&T is largely into project business, and IT infrastructure means for L&T is always available. I'll answer her question regarding robotics, but in a different way. The main thing is when in Larsen & Toubro, the challenge what we face is that they want an experience of a commercial world sitting in a corporate world. The demand for IT, the user experience from IT is how closely we can match like Uber, Ola or Meru's type of experience what we are going to give to them. And for us, IT is a lifeline of Larsen & Toubro business. Like good old days when you used to have only man, material and machines, the big addition over there is called a web, what somebody explained just a few minutes back. And without that, nothing works. And there are umpteen number of examples we can go ahead to do that. Coming back to the robotic question, L&T has taken a great step towards aligning with partnership of General Electric, where we are going to enable our all back-end machines for doing performance management, health checking and things like that. Robots will definitely come, but they will call a soft robot in our business. We would like to get rid of a lot of support staff which is working in various organizations using chatbots. And a good amount of experimentation is we are experimenting it and trying to do a first phase of pilot in the next 2 to 3 months. I don't see right now the robots in lifting, but definitely robotics has gone into workshops towards very specialized welding. They can sense seam, they can sense the job, they can sense the material, and that's how some of our very prestigious jobs what we have delivered to Indian Navy, they have been enabled with doing robotic welding, and that's where our experience goes.
Right. That's scary at one level, the kind of jobs getting replaced. I hope, robots don't replace journalists as well, but I'm sure a lot of people would like that.
Yeah.
But Anuj, just coming to you, one question that, IT managers or, always have to grapple with is, when is the correct time to upgrade your IT infra, and do I really have to spend money on that? Can I make do with it? Do I have to replace or upgrade? Has that conversation become more intense now because of digital? I'm sure you're going and, telling them you have to spend on discretionary, you have to spend on digital. So, have those conversations intensified now? Do they have to upgrade? Do they have to replace?
So, let me give one perspective. Today we are a 1.3 billion population, right? About 250, 300 million on the internet. As per 2020 report, about 600 people will be on the internet. We are about 250 million penetrated smartphone users. We'll be about 500 million by 2020. So what this throws is consumerization of IT, right? The entire use, abuse, and the entire usage of IT within the consumerization. So in this, IT needs to be robust, needs to be agile, and it definitely needs to be innovative. In doing all of this, we need to empower the user more and more. We need to ensure that the user is getting the best of tools, the best of devices. He's at any point in time more productive and efficient than what he was earlier. So in doing all of this, IT plays the most critical part. It has to be robust. It has to transform. It has to be an enabler, right? And again, an enabler, facilitator. At any point in time, it has to transform.
Right.
So your conversation, yes, our conversations with most of the CIOs, the CEOs, is about how IT will transform, how this digitalization or the onslaught of digital data that is coming in the environments, in the enterprises, how do they cope up with it, what do they do, and how do they go about it? Is definitely a question every day, and I'm sure there's a boardroom discussion as well at any point in time.
I'm sure he hopes you're discussing it, more, your IT budgets keep going up. But with that, I'm going to go to Sumit again for a round of audience, for an audience poll at this
Exactly. Point. Thank you so much for that. It's time for our favorite audience poll. We love to hear from you guys. So you know the drill, the HSIF 2016 India app. Please put it on this. Again, in case the last time you had just put off the app, then this is the time to go back to the homepage so it'll refresh. And you can go to the opening poll. Here's your question for you for this session. It says, are Indian companies leveraging cloud computing to enhance their business as much as they can? Yes or no? Let us have your opinion. Again, we'll give it a couple of seconds, about 10 seconds, so that everybody can punch in their opinions. And so again, the beauty of it is we're real time. We're getting to update the results and hear from you as to how many are saying yes and how many are saying no. So the beauty about this is there are no surprises. You know the answer. In fact, at times, even before Chandra knows the answers, you know the answer to this. So we'll give it a couple of more seconds.
Oh.
There it is. 45.83% say yes. 54% are saying no. 56 it's gone up to. Very slim margin, almost split half and half. This will be something really interesting for Chandra, for you and the panel to talk about. But quickly, before I come back to you, I'll just take one or two audience questions if they have something on IT infrastructure, if there are a couple of questions. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if you could stand up, we'll get a mic to you. And if you could let us know your name and your company and the question.
Securities Depository Limited.
Sorry, may I request you to say your name again, please?
My name is Kavita from National Securities Depository Limited. The basic challenge being a IT strategic designer for the company is that the infrastructure is getting outdated very fast, and so is the applications on it. The challenge remains with our team, our IT team, is how to make sure they're not outdated.
Right.
Change is the only constant, definitely in this industry.
Yeah. Interestingly, it's the same issue that, the Chief Minister raised in the morning.
Right,
That
right.
we're getting so much of data, we don't know what to do with it because all the applications are, 5 years old. So, you have to answer this. They can't, they're counting on you.
So again, as they say, data is your new digital asset, right? That is the asset. So it was about 5 years back where OPEC, the oil nations, were, dictating the economies. I think the future is all about how digital are you, how much control you have over your data, what are the analysis you can do with the data, right? What are the insights you can drive out of it, and effectively make outcome-based decisions. So everything revolves around data. The point is that today, the whole technology spectrum is changing so fast and so quick that it's never the right time to upgrade or not. It's never the right time to, whether it's outdated or not, right? So at every point in time, you got to take a use case, evolve that use case, and start growing on that. Because you never know in 2 years, that use case that you had will not be relevant after 2 years. So again, I strongly feel, and I always say that this is the time of destruction and disruption, right? Businesses are going to get destroyed who are traditional, who are not waking up, who are not getting awakened to the fact that they have to move into the newer technology. Disruption from the way we are doing business, right? Classic example, I think yesterday Google announced they're getting into financial sector, right? The UPI, which NPCI is doing, the Geo launch, right? All of this, what is it doing? It's going to destroy or destruct the way businesses are done and disrupt the way we're going to be doing our business. So yes, it's never too late. It's never too early. You got to be on the ride all the time.
Contact Hitachi.
Yes, please do.
Take time for one more question, if there's someone here. Otherwise, in fact, I would just want to ask, actually, the gentleman on that side of the panel, is what is the, is this a concern with you when you're adopting a system for an IT system, and the worry about X IT system talking to the old system or to maybe a new system that would be coming, and the worry that if I'm adopting a certain system and if, God forbid, it fails, then A, I've lost a lot of money, I've lost a lot of time, but that means kind of building my whole internal IT system again from scratch. Is that something that worries you? Or are you using Hitachi and you're not worried?
Yeah, go on, sir.
To some extent it does, particularly when you are at the point of time when you're making the investment. But it's never a blind call. It's well thought out. You look at what are the alternatives. Typically, you also do POCs, sufficient trial, look at it. But on the other hand, you cannot wait for too long. I mean, one of the tendencies that, let me see what others are doing. So if you wait for the others to do, probably, will be follower. If I want to use it fast and bring it to the business and allow business to leverage it, then I have to take some amount of chance. So if you equate chance to, fear or doubt, yes, there would be something. But then there are other ways to, reduce the impact if it doesn't work. So if I don't do anything or very few things, it will probably all will succeed. If I do 10 things, some of them will be, little aggressive, is how I would put it. And out of 10, if 7 succeed, I'm much better off than just trying 3, of which all succeeded.
Perfect. Well, with that, Chandra, it's back to you. Thank you.
One question that I really wanted to get is cost the biggest driver when, you decide to change IT infra? I mean, he said, I don't wait to respond to competition. I would rather be proactive. But is cost a key driver there in, actually deciding what to do about IT infra?
No, in probably our case, cost is not the driver. While it is one of the component when you do the evaluation, the primary thing is how it is adding value to the business. How is it allowing business to respond to the changes those are happening in the market? So I'll give you an example. Crude that we bring into the country. Once upon a time it was 150. Today it is between 40 and 50. It's a large gap, and today the way it swings, you have to do lot of checking or a lot of evaluation before you actually put the crude to processing. Now, are my machines or the servers which are helping me to evaluate crude, are they sufficiently equipped? And that is where it matters. If I look at cost and bring some lower end servers or lower end infrastructure, if my crude evaluation process takes time, I have lost opportunity, and the scale that at which we operate, it may not really help. If you look at retail, we are the late entrants in the market. Today you have IOCL, HPCL, BPCL, which is already there with almost 55,000 petrol stations. Now for us to actually catch up with them, I don't think we will be that number, but for us to really do good in retail, digitization is the only way. Now when you look at cost versus benefit, I don't think you will ever be able to do digitization in a retail kind of scenario. So it is all about how is it able to respond or help my business to respond quickly to the changing needs of the market is what the evaluation parameter is. Like recently we went and bought a logistics optimizer system. Now the cost was substantially high. But if I'm moving from 1,000 retail outlets to 7,500 retail outlets, will it allow me to process my logistics faster and help me to actually reach product to the right retail outlet is what is important. So many a times it is driven by the business exigencies rather than the cost is what in our case it is.
Right.
The cost is actually very important. We should not see that I'll not look at cost. Cost means a lot of learning for the organization as to what I'm trying to achieve at what cost. But at the same time, we should not hinder any of the IT projects because there is an element of risk when IT projects are implemented. So we have to convince first ourselves so that we can convince the organization, the board to take up major risk for transformation. Many of investment what we made few years back, they were so expensive that in today's world, you go to somebody and say, I want to spend money, probably the answer is no. But you see the value delivery maybe not immediately, but after some time. Okay. It is very good investment to create infrastructure, look at the future, and take bold steps also to move forward. And that's where the IT will pay you back. IT will not pay you back next day, but you have to assume something, work on it, and extract juice out of it. That's where
you need to convince your management that there is some long-term gain.
Definitely.
Okay.
So I would like to just add here because we deal with almost all different organizations. We interact with CFOs, CEOs. At what we are seeing, the biggest change now is that if there is a business case, if there is revenue which will come in because of this technology change, the organizations are really willing to look at it. But if it's just about upgrading what your infra is, I think the money is going down there. But if it's going to enable business in a newer way, you deliver to your customer experiences, which will drive revenue. Right. We are seeing huge amount of money coming in.
That's actually a counterintuitive trend.
Completely.
Yeah. So I just want to get your views on this poll, which, is that, actually not this one, the previous one which spoke about lower intake as far as cloud is concerned. When I look at startups, and I'm saying startups because I'm based in Bangalore, every second company is a startup. The adoption of cloud is huge, because of Amazon Web Services, also the kind of cost at which it comes. Do you think, it's restricted to some of the new age companies, the traditional players, cloud adoption among SMEs, among traditional players? It's still fairly low. It's just getting there. Just surprised about this poll that, people are not using that much cloud as we think they are.
No, it's not that. For a startup, it makes huge sense to start with the cloud. It just doesn't make sense to invest, create this thing. And typically, when you are saying startup, I also assume there is a connotation that it may fail or it may succeed hugely. Both are difficult when you're making a capital investment.
Thinks 90% startups are nonsense.
But then when it succeeds, it scales up so fast. Then if you make your investment, it would be difficult to match in-house investment. So they will always go. So greenfield, I think startup or any kind of thing will tend to go towards cloud. There's no doubt about it. But the established companies who have for the last 25, 30 years have invested into this. Say, for example, let's take our case. We have a cloud first policy. right? But we also have a data center, right? We also look at security, the ability of the cloud service providers to deliver and be with us as a partner, right? Not just a service provider. So every refresh, I will look at it whether, hardware refresh of any kind, we'll look at it whether I can position it in cloud, right? Some of the cases it is feasible, some of the cases it is not feasible. But if you ask me, can you stop my data center, right? The answer is no, because I have investment tied to it. The investment tied to it, so servers and the network equipment typically have a life from anything from 4 to 6 years.
Right.
So if I'm in the mid-cycle, it is very difficult to get a value proposition that I will, move it to cloud and get it. And the other thing I would like to make, cloud is not cheap, right? Cloud has different advantages. You can't do a pure, return on investment calculation. It just doesn't work.
Okay.
But it has other values which a traditional data center cannot deliver.
Because
for
the
example,
traditional
scale up.
perception is that cloud leads to a lot of cost saving for.
It's not cost saving. You actually don't invest, so you actually reduce the risk. And also, when you want to scale up, you can do scaling up very fast.
Right.
In a conventional data center, you will assess and you will figure out. But in a cloud, just to see how, suppose we have introduced a new product and there's a huge hit in our web server, right? We will scale it up for so many days and I'll be able to do it very, very quickly, because that will be available. So from that perspective, if the load is not uniform, typically there would be a cost saving.
Okay.
Because if we invest in the data center, then I'll have to do it for the peak load or the peak demand and probably keep a headroom, right? But I'm not always on the peak. My load is fluctuating. But on a cloud, I can actually synchronize the infrastructure that I need and pay for that with synchronous to my load.
Right. Sumit? Yeah, sure.
Sure, sir, please go. No, carry on.
Yeah.
On the cloud piece, actually, it all depends where you start the discussion. If you start the discussion saying that, is a security 100%, is my data safe, I think suddenly cloud will fall into the range that you see there today. But if you see, will cloud bring business agility? Will cloud help me to respond to business needs quickly? I think the chart will change actually the
based on the questions that
other way around. So it all depends. The second thing is there enough awareness that as a SI community has created among the business, saying that this is the way cloud is, because a data center technology has taken its own time of 15-20 years for IT to digest. Cloud is just 3, 4, 5 years. But all the discussions are, since we are now evolved and we understand security, we'll pose the first question, say to Hitachi, is it secure? Is it my data going to be, what happens if I exit from you?
Right.
The moment you start from the end to the first, you obviously have a challenge of adopting the cloud. But if you look at, you have these many advantages, your business is scaling like this, I think cloud adoption would be far more easier and far more simpler to any organization.
Right.
I think one, if I had to point out one single reason, the people who have invested, right, it will take some time to get into that cycle and move to cloud.
Right.
That's why you're saying that after 50-50
get out
kind of
all
thing.
the benefits from your existing.
So I know there is this thing, but this is not the opportune moment for me to move to cloud. So I move something else. So there has to be a strategy on moving to the cloud, and people who have invested, that strategy, execution of that strategy will be little longer.
Right.
So again, just to what Vikas added, right? The system integrator, the maturity that system integrators have. So first, to you, this thing, it's not cheap. So whoever says cloud is cheap is not cheap, right? It's again about what you want to do with it, what are the features you're looking at it. And again, the whole system integrator community, people like us, we are all in that cusp where we are evolving our business models. We are coming to outcome-based business models, right? We are working with customers. Actually, at a lot of places, we learn with the customer, because there are such use cases that come to us which we've not even dreamt of. The kind of loads we have spoken about, traditional data centers have not seen those loads. So it's a complete learning curve. And yes, I agree that we are not 100% equipped to give you answers for that, but yes, it's the journey which has begun. And in 2 years, your poll, this which is 60-40, would be probably 95-5. 95 on adoption, 5% still wanting to adopt.
So at the 6th edition of the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum, we'll ask this question again.
I don't think you need to ask the question.
It'll be obvious knowledge by then. Okay, but I will ask another question to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. Let's get our smartphones out, the app, and open it up to our, again, just go back to the homepage so it refreshes and you can come to the opening poll. This is a really interesting one, and they were just briefly touched upon this, and I hope the panel will take this point further in their continuing discussion. But has your organization ever seen a breach of security due to a cyber attack? That I think, and don't worry, we won't be revealing the company name or your name or stuff like that. No, I mean, I'm on a serious note, please do let us know. Has your organization ever seen a breach of security due to a cyber attack? I think this will be Chandra, this I think will be a very interesting point to be brought up. Let's just wait for these answers to come up, for the poll results to come up. There we have it. 60% say yes, 40% say no. 60% have already faced a breach of security due to a cyber attack. And this is a mixed audience of SMEs and large organizations. So it's not just the big ones or just the small ones. But before, Chandra, you continue with this, I will come back to the audience to take a question or two. Yes. So you have a question or you have a... The results have changed now. Perfect. Okay. Great. Have they moved? We'll check them up, Chandra. We'll see the final results. But before that, any questions in the audience? If somebody has something pertinent to cybersecurity, oh my God, the results have been inverted. See, that's in a way the beauty, but also the problem of having a real-time poll happening. No wonder they don't do it in general elections. I was talking about that earlier in the day. So it has been completely inverted. Okay, Chandra, this is the time for you to now get the panel to wonder about how the the results have flipped. So back to you with that, Chandra.
I'm sure none of you would want to say yes to that question.
If you ask individually anybody that whether you have been attacked, generally the answer will be no. But cyber attacks have really gone up in last 24 months with the experience what we have. Obviously, this will never be good. Never go to public domain, and you will not know exactly what has happened. But some amount of something has happened which needed an attention. And about 1.5 years back, we had constituted IT Security Council, consisted of all the so-called security officers, and it is chaired by a chief security officer. In reports to me in our department. And we have come out with a great framework which has to be implemented across the whole company with a time frame. This has really yielded very good results, and last 4 to 5 months we are not finding much coming because the majority of the steps what we have taken is that we have improved detection like anything. There is no other method by which you will improve your situation. At least what I know is if you are not improving your detection, because breach is there actually, but you are not able to detect it earlier. But here you have to invest in tools, technologies, you have to create your own network inside industry, outside industry, your similar thinking people who can meet outside the company and share with you what is going on. And that's how you have to build your own strategy. Generally it is not discussed anywhere. Nobody want to talk about it. But you have to get yourself strengthened in that area, because more and more things are going to happen which probably can put you really down. You may lose business. Your systems may completely go down. Ransomware is a great, every now and then I keep listening about it. Touch wood, we don't have any ransomware attack, but this is something which is increasing in a geometric progression. I would like audience to take a note of it and try to build some strategy around it by which you can address cyber attacks in the inside industry.
Right. I just want to get closing comments from you on this very important issue, because I'm sure a lot of people want some reassurance on this. The fact that cyber attacks have gone up, and you see it happening to the government, to organizations, to just about everyone.
This is actually my favorite topic, and I can talk for hours on this. So I think this poll is wrong, because all of us have been breached. I might sound harsh. Let's not live in a fool's paradise. It's inevitable. Everyone has been breached. The problem is that we don't know that we are breached. As he said, the detection technologies. Today, cyber attacks, so there are two types of cyber security or cyber attacks, and then there are the information security attacks, right? And both are at their all-time high. So again, in today's organizations, all the organizations and all the enterprises who are sitting on the left, all of them are doing one thing, that is, how fast can you react to the incident? What is the incident management policy? As when I said they made a team of, the Council of Security, right? How fast do you respond to the incident? That's the only way you can really live with it. Other than that, there is definitely penetration happening as we talk, and it's going to go on. It's only about how much can you be robust, how fast can you wake up and start reacting to it. So as they say, when you get a heart attack, that's the golden hour. It's that 1 hour when you get detected. If you get medicated at that time, you survive, right? Unfortunately, in the IT Security Forum, we don't know when that 1 hour, when is the golden time. By the time we are down and out is when we realize that we were attacked.
Right,
So that's the Vipakas.
Just echoing your sentiment, FBI head, I think in the month of May, made a statement, and without any disrespect to people who voted no, he said there are two types of companies. One who know they have been breached, and the other who don't know that they have been breached. I think that is pretty much the scenario. Everybody has been. The question is, impact may not have been high. We are seeing, attacks. We are seeing. We do security. We do monitor. There are constant attack that is there. The question is, how fast we can detect, take action, and if at all breached, how quickly we can
take reaction time
and come back. What is the incidents management at that point of time?
Would you agree that this should have perhaps been 100%?
I think he's correct. Everybody has been breached. Just this poll is not correct. I fully agree with you.
Just the question, if you shorten that question and ask, has your organization ever seen a breach of security? Because the moment you add cyber attack, people feel that from outside. But any email any antivirus outburst or any spamming that happens in a organization is also a part of breach of security, and you go through this day in, day out in terms of you being the security being breached. So it is not only about cyber attack. It is from your endpoint to the external router that you have into the network. Everything has to be secured well. And the question, the moment you add cyber attack, I think the answer should have been no all along.
So we'll add a shorter question.
No, today actually it is very difficult to say what is cyber attack, what is information security. All getting mixed up because from one perspective, everything is cyber attack. Right? Nobody is actually coming and taking up a file or this thing. So.
Right. With that, I'm afraid.
Just one point is the response. It's all about the key is the response. How you respond to an attack
and how fast.
How fast you respond. That's the key.
Right.
The other important thing to be noted, when, as a defense, we have to defend each and every time. Attacker has to succeed only once. That's the whole trouble. It's like batsman and bowler in cricket, right? Batsman has to continuously play. Bowler has to just get one ball to his wicket and get him.
Right. I'm going to end with that cricket analogy because, he couldn't have put it better. But we certainly hope you enjoyed this panel and it gave you an idea of the kind of IT infrastructure that you need, the plumbing that you need to build a digital enterprise. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the panel.